In this Map Suite MVC Edition sample app walkthrough, we're going to show you how you can get the area of a feature or calculate the area of a feature. Additionally, we're going to show you how you can click on a feature, do a quick spatial query, and then return the area of that one. So to get started, let's take a look at this sample. So here we've got just a basic map with the World Map Kit as a background. And even though it's maybe a little bit difficult to see, we've also got a shapefile overlaid on top of this with the country outlines. We just got a little light green border on there with some transparency. Now if I go to click on any one of these countries, like for example Brazil, you'll now see that we get a little pop-up that shows Brazil has an area of, that many square kilometers. So this sample is showing you how you can click on any of these countries and calculate the area of the feature. So this can be real handy if you need to know certain attributes about your features inside your application, whether it be area. There's also some other samples, to get the distance and things of that nature. But we're going to just focus on the area in this sample here. So let's take a look at the code and see how this sample is working. So to get started, let's look at the view source. And we've got a typical page here with a little JavaScript, a little HTML with some instructions. Then down here is where we're setting up the map. So this is setting up our map with the World Map Kit overlay. And then down here is where we're adding the shapefile feature layer that is containing the borders of all the countries in the world. So we're just loading that shapefile feature layer from this path, and then we're going to give it we're going to create a simple style that's transparent with that light green border color that I was talking about earlier, and apply that to all the zoom levels. And then just go ahead and add that layer to the map as its own layer overlay. And then down here we're going to go ahead and create a pop-up, an information pop-up that's going to be auto-sized, and by default it's not going to be visible. But that's going to be available to us once we actually get the area, so we can display that back to the user. Then we're also going to set up an on-client click event. So when the user clicks on the map, we're going to call this click to get area JavaScript, and then finally we render the map out. So most of the interactivity is happening here when the user clicks on the map, and that's when this click to get area is going to be fired up here. That's a JavaScript function. And within that, the first thing we do is just get a reference to the pop-up, so we can display that a little bit later. And then we go ahead and set the location of the pop-up to where the user clicks, because we don't want to, we want to put that pop-up over the country that was clicked. So that's what this line of code right there is doing. Next, we need to go to the server to do some work. So we're going to do an AJAX call action off of the map, which is an AJAX callback, and we're going to say we want to go to the interactive overlays controller, and then do the get area method within that controller. And in this case, we're also passing in some parameters. So we want to know where the user clicked, also on the server, so we can do some of these, do the spatial query and find the country that they actually clicked on. So we're passing in the latitude and longitude as parameters to the server via the AJAX callback. And then once that AJAX callback's done, we get a result, and we're going to go ahead and show the pop-up with any data that was passed back from the server, or I should say set the content of the pop-up with anything that's passed back from the server, and then show the pop-up accordingly. So that's what's all happened on the client side. Let's go to the server side, as that's where the heavy lifting is being done to actually find the country that the user clicked on, and then also calculate the area of that feature. So to do that, let's look at the controller source, and let's look at the get area routine. And the first part of this is just getting the arguments passed in from the client, so getting the x and the y value, the longitude and latitude, and then we're creating a point shape based upon those two values. And then we're also getting a reference to our world layer that contains or represents the shapefile that contains all the country borders, so that's important. And then down here is where we're finding what country the user clicked in, so we need to open up that layer. And then here we're under the query tools method, we're using get features containing. So that's going to return any features containing the point where the user clicked. And so that's very important. If the user doesn't click in any countries, this method's not going to return anything. And if you had a shapefile where multiple polygons or areas were overlaid, then it could return more than one feature as well. But in this case, because countries can't overlap each other, it's just going to return one feature. So we passed a point into that method to tell where where the user clicked. And this is, we're just saying we want to get back we want to get back to country name as part of that feature. So I typically just say all columns, so you get all the data back with the country. But if you just care about one column, you can specify that here in the string array. So then we have our selected country that the user clicked on. So we're going to go ahead and close out that shapefile because we don't need that anymore. And then here we're going to start building up our content that we want to, or HTML that we want to put in the pop-up. So we've got a div here. We says, please click the country to see how large it is. And we check to make sure we did in fact get a country returned in our query up here, that the user did click on there. And assuming we did, we go ahead and get the area base shape out of that feature, so using the getShape method. And then once we have an area base shape, we can use the getArea method off of that to find the actual area of that feature. So the getArea has a few parameters here on this overload. The first one is the unit that the feature is in. So in this case, we're dealing with longitude and latitude data, so the unit is in decimal degree. And then the next one is what area unit you want to do your calculation. So we wanted to find out how many square kilometers a country is, but if you wanted to do square meters, square miles, square feet, those are all different types of area units you can do your calculation on to get the area result you want. So once we have that, we add that to our HTML, or the content that's going to be displayed in the pop-up, and then just return that back to the client so it can be displayed in the pop-up accordingly. And that's pretty much it for this sample. So if you want to allow your users to click on various features and show area information, this is a great sample to show you how to do that. So I hope this has been helpful. Please feel free to contact us if you have any questions. And as always, you can also post your questions on our discussion forums at ThinkGeo.com/forums. Thanks for watching.